what we're going to be working on is a box called Legacy. So this is part of my Hack the Box series where I walk through different boxes on Hack the Box. I show how to do them. I show basically just for beginners like a step-by-step way to go from start to finish and working through this box. Now, for those who have never used Hack the Box before, it is a pretty difficult platform if you're entirely new to cybersecurity, right? It does require a little bit of Linux skills. It requires a pretty basic understanding of ethical penetration testing and just networking in general. But if you are looking for good ways to practice your ethical pen testing skills, this is a great way to do it. So basically, what we got going on so far is we have the legacy box open up now. We have our target IP, and as you all probably know, target IP, that's going to be the machine that we're attacking. And so far, all I've done, which you will have to do beforehand, is I've connected to the VPN to get me onto the Hack the Box network. All we need to do now is I booted up the box, I'm on the network. I just need to ping this IP address just to make sure that we can hit it. So I'm just going to take this, copy it, go to our trusted terminal, and I'm going to ping 10.10.10.4 just to make sure that we can interact with the machine. For those who have never done the ping command, I'm going to try to make this as step-by-step as possible. Basically, all that's happening here is I'm testing to see if I get bytes back from the server. 64 bytes back from the server is good because it means that the server is interacting with me. I basically think of ping as I threw a baseball at someone and they caught it, right? Now let's ping a server that is not up. When I ping 10.10.10.5, which is not a server that is up and running, we can see quite quickly the baseball does not get thrown back to me, right? I just get this destination host unreachable, right? So that's how we know that in terms of computers I can interact with and therefore attack, 10.10.10.4 I can do, and then 10.10.10.5 I cannot do. What we need to do now, right, now that we know that we can ping our machine, we need to scan our machines. For anyone who's completely new to the penetration testing process, the first thing that you do in almost every pen test is you try to scan the box for open services and open ports. What does that mean? Think of it this way, right? Like, let's say you're a burglar, obviously not condoning burgling, but like, let's say you're burgling a house, right? What they'll typically do is they'll check to see if the windows are open or the doors are open. And when it comes to scanning a machine, right, like a computer that we're attacking, it's very similar. We need to check all of the different points of entry to see what's open and what's not open at all. And what we're going to do in order to do that, I'm just going to clear my screen by typing in the clear command and hitting enter. But basically all we're going to do in order to test what is and what is not open is we're going to use the nmap command. Now, nmap, I like to think it's short for network mapping. I don't know what it actually is short for. But basically what it's going to do is it's going to scan the victim box that we're attacking right now. In this case, it's the legacy box, right, that we see from Hack the Box. It's that 10.10.10.4 IP address we were talking about. So we're going to use nmap to scan that box, figure out which ports are open, and that is going to guide us on how we are going to approach this box, approach this attack. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to run nmap, and I'm going to do it -sv, and this will give me the version number of the ports. And then I'm just going to put in my IP address that we are attacking. In this case, it is 10.10.10.4, and I'm going to hit enter. So I'm going to let this spin for a little bit. It'll take a minute or two. But while this is spinning, just keep in mind, nmap has many different options that we could run here. I use -sv because it should be relatively quick, right? It's not going to take all that long. There are other options that are more comprehensive, but keep in mind two things. The more comprehensive the scan you run, the longer that scan will take, number one, and also the more noise it'll make on the network. Now, I'm not going to show what that noise looks like in this video. I have other videos where I talk about different scans and what it looks like if you're actually like analyzing the network logs. But just keep in mind that when you do a more comprehensive scan, you're basically making a more noticeable impact on a server, right, on a network that's probably going to get picked up. So our scan's completed, right? We ran nmap-sv on this IP address. We now see that there are these 3 ports open. And now the first thing that you're probably wondering is, how do we know where to start our attack? Well, I'll tell you, the very first thing that sticks out to me here is that we have this Windows XP version here. And for those of you who are unaware of what Windows XP is, it's basically an operating system, a Windows operating system, that has been discontinued years ago. And basically what it means is when something's discontinued in terms of a technical and security capacity, basically what happened is that the vendor said, we are no longer providing security patches for this thing. So any security issues that exist now will always exist because they'll never be patched, right? So whenever I see a service pop up and it has a version that is extremely old, like Windows XP, right? This is already raising flags to me. This is already saying like, hey, you know, I should probably investigate this. I should probably see what's going on here. So we have this Windows XP version. I want to dive a little bit deeper though into this, right? So this is good. This is a good starting point, what we've just done. We've scanned the machine. We've seen that on this machine, there's 3 ports open. We have port 135, port 139, port 445. And then the second step was we noticed that port 445 is actually drawing our attention quite a bit. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to dive a little bit deeper. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the same command. I'm going to do nmap, except I'm going to scan the specific port that I'm interested in. Now, you might ask, why don't I run the scan on all my ports? Well, the quick answer is because it'll take long, and we're on a, you know, I'm doing a YouTube video / stream, so I don't want you guys to wait for a while. So we're just going to do 1 port. But in reality, you know, if you weren't worried about how much noise you're making on the server and you weren't worried about the time that a scan will take, let's say you're just doing hack the box in your free time, you could do this on all of your ports. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do -P for port. I'm going to specify that I'm only running this scan on port 445. I'm going to do --script. Then I'm going to do the word vuln. I'm going to type in 10.10.10.4, which once again is our IP address, right? And by our IP address, I mean the IP address we're attacking. So I'm going to hit enter. This scan will take a little bit as well. Keep in mind, right, even though this scan scanned more ports, this scan is actually going into more depth about the ports, right? So it'll probably take, honestly, about an equal amount of time. This one, it seems like it took 23 seconds, so you know, let's see what the second scan takes. In the meantime, just to explain this scan a little bit deeper, basically what this is doing is it's going to be scanning only port 445, right, via this -P option, and it's going to be scanning that port for vulnerable scripts that will exist in Metasploit, and it'll tell us which scripts might work for our attack. So we get our results back. This took about double the time, took about 40 seconds, so pretty interesting. We scanned less ports, but because of the depth at which we scanned them, it took a bit longer. But we have information that is much, much, much more valuable than what we got previously. We see a ton of information. I'm really looking for one specific thing here. We just scroll down, and it looks like this is it, right? I actually see that there's this MS08 package that it might be vulnerable to, right? We could see that this version of SMB is vulnerable to this Metasploit version. Now, if you're wondering, how do we filter through like all the gunk in our scans, right? Honestly, like when we scan things, there's a ton of information thrown at us at once. The way I typically do it is, right, this is the pre-scan script results. Not too interesting for me, to be honest with you. This is more information about our ports, right? It doesn't really get juicy, at least with this particular scan, until we see these host script results, right? And the first thing that pops up, right, is we see that SMB v2 is vulnerable. It talks about a specific CVE. And if we scroll down a little bit further down, we get the actual code for the vulnerability that we might be able to exploit here. So keep in mind, whenever you see this MS, right, whenever you see something formatted like this, typically one thing I like to do is I like to go to a tool called Metasploit, and I like to search for it and see if it's a package that I can use. So I'm going to do Control-Shift-T. I'm going to do Control-Shift-Plus to make my screen bigger so you all can see it. And all I'm going to do now is, hold on, let me just jump back. But all I'm going to do now, right, now that we've found this potential package that we could look into, I'm just going to start up our Metasploit console. I'm going to do MSF console and hit enter. Now, what is this doing? basically what it's doing is it's starting up Metasploit, right? And Metasploit, other than having this cool ASCII art, which is someone put a lot of time into, it's going to have all of these payloads that we can use to attack our pretend target, right, from Hack the Box here. So, as we said before, the step we're on is first we've scanned the machine for vulnerable ports. We've then found a vulnerable package that we might be able to use to exploit it. And now all we're doing with Metasploit is we're going to search for that package, right? With the reminder that this is exactly what we're searching for, this MS08 ID number. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to do search, and then just paste it in. So now that we get this package, all I need to do is, quite simply, I just have to do use, and then the ID number of our package. So I'm going to do use 0, hit enter, and we're going to see that my payload is now set up. And when I say set up, all I really mean here is I've loaded it to my terminal, right? Like it's part of my terminal line now. It doesn't mean that it's properly configured yet, right? Keep in mind with all of these payloads, we need to customize them to some extent. And the extent to which we have to customize them will vary per payload. This one would be relatively simple. But a good rule of thumb to think about, right, is these payloads aren't going to know by default what you're attacking, right? So you obviously will need to configure that at the very least. So all I need to do here is I'm going to type in show options and hit enter. And we could see that we have a couple options that are required, right? So our host is required. This is blank, so we will need to fill that in. Our port is required. It defaulted to 445, which makes sense, right? Once again, going all the way back to our scan. That is the port we are currently attacking. Browser default, don't touch that. Lhost, this is the listening host. This is actually something we'll have to change as well. By default, it is the local IP address of my private subnet right now. What we need to change it to is the IP address of our box on Hack the Box, right? So keep in mind, this will depend on your IP address via Hack the Box. And just as a good rule of thumb, your Hack the Box IP address is going to start with a 10.10, similar to their boxes as well. So now that we've seen the options we need to configure, how do we configure them? All we have to do here, I'm just going to rerun show options with it a little bit smaller so we can see more options. But all we need to do here is I'm going to type in set, and the first one I'm going to do is our host, right? This stands for receiving host. I'm going to do set our hosts to 10.10.10. I believe it's 4, right? 4. Now you might be wondering, why is our host the IP address of our victim machine? The answer to that question is because our host, you could think of it as the receiving host. What is the host that's receiving our attack? In this case, it is 10.10.10.4, as we can see on our Hack the Box UI. I'm going to hit enter. Next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do set lhost, and this is my machine. So I'm going to set it to my machine's Hack the Box IP address. So I'm going to set 10.10.14.3 and hit enter. And if you want to check your machine's IP address, you can do IP space A. I'm just going to check that, right? And I can see right here, this is my IP address, and I have a couple local private IP addresses here. But this right here is my Hack the Box IP address. And once again, yours is going to start with 10.10. Whatever, right? In my case, it's 14.3. So I cleared my screen out with the clear command. I'm going to do show options one more time to make sure everything's properly configured. And it looks like we're good to go. All that's left to do is the fun part. We just got to type in exploit or run, whatever you prefer. I prefer exploit. And then we let our package do the attack. Sometimes you'll see that the exploit does not run all the way. That's what happens on Hack the Box, right? Is someone will actually jump onto your box. So I'm just going to reset this. If you do the same L port as somebody else who's currently listening, that could actually cause some problem. All right, and now we're just going to rerun our payload. All right, great. And as you can see, I didn't change anything. The only thing I changed was that I reset the machine. Now that I have a interpreter shell, I know that I'm in the system. And all I have to do to see who I am is I could do get UID and hit enter. And I can see that I'm NT Authority System, which on Windows, that's your administrator. If I type in the word shell, right, I can now actually interact I just did the dir command, so I just looked for all the files. I'm going to cd to the C users directory. Let's see, let's just go cd to C dir. What do we got? Documents and settings. All right, so this is where, as we said before, there's an art and a science to ethical penetration testing. This is where we get a little bit more into the art of it, right? Trying to find the user text. Most of the times on Linux machines, it's pretty easy. You go to the users folder, then you go to whatever user you're looking for. Windows is a bit more weird. Sometimes you'll go to the users folder. In this case, it's in documents and settings, it looks like. I'm going to cd to John. Let's get the user flag first. I'm going to do dir to list the contents. I'm going to cd to John's desktop. Usually that's a pretty good place to go for documents. I'm going to do dir. We can see we got the user.txt here. I'm just going to do cat user.txt. I think it's type user.txt for Windows. And here we got the flag. All right, so pretty cool. All right, we've basically just done our first machine, or we've just done our first user flag. Now all I need to do here is I could cd out. I'm going to cd one more time to get out of the John directory. I'm going to do dir. Now I'm just going to get our administrator flag. Once again, since I'm already the administrator user, I have complete access over to the machine, and I can do whatever I want, such as go into that administrator folder, look at the documents. I'm going to cd into the desktop one more time, dir to list out the documents again, and then I'm going to do the type command to list out the contents of root.txt, and I'm going to hit enter. And here we have it, our flag. So that's how we find the user and the root flag for this box. I appreciate you all watching the stream. I appreciate you all watching and following along, and I'll see you all in the next stream/video.